Starting a new D&D campaign is supposed to be exciting, but if you skip session 0, that's just the beginning of the end.
Yeah, before the dice hit the table, you first have to set the stage. Today, we're going to be talking about session 0. This is episode 6. I'm Javier.
I'm Pedro.
And this is Behind the Chaos. So, let's get started right into it. What is a session 0?
Session 0, I think it is the get together just before you actually jump into the game. And this is where you discussed the rules, set the expectations, and discuss everything that you and the DM and the players need to know and need to agree upon before starting their adventure.
Yeah. Very well said. Session 0 is more than, I think it's just more than just the initial meeting. It sets the vibe and the tone for the entirety of the game that you're about to play, right? Mm-hmm. So during the last episode, we kind of discussed on how to pick your next campaign, and we touched on session 0 and a couple of different things that might kind of overlap. Yeah. But I think more importantly, we're going to dive into why you should have one, like how you should have one, which I think can be important as well. And then kind of like what it is, right? So Pedro said it great. What I think it is it's just a meeting where you lay everything out on the table, you make sure everyone's on the same page right before proceeding to actually playing.
Yeah.
Now, I've met a lot of people who particularly say that it's a waste of time, that it doesn't bring any benefit, that they don't like doing it, they don't like hosting it, that everyone should kind of just come to session 1 prepared and done for. I don't know.
I mean, from my point of view, that is okay if the players are a group of friends that already know each other, know their boundaries, are okay with each other, and know what to expect from each other, right? But if you have people that are new to the group, if it's just a group of random people that are not friends, they just agree to start a campaign in this D&D game, right? But you don't know much about those players. I think the session 0 is a must.
Yeah.
Because that's where you are going to know them a little better, and not even get to know them, but basically tell them what is expected in the table. Yeah. Right? How to play, what things are okay, what things are not okay.
Yeah.
So for some groups, it is not a waste of time, but they don't need it. It's not required.
I don't know.
But most of the groups that are not fully friends, I think it is a must-have.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I disagree. I think it's a must on every occasion, because even in so talking about safety and being comfortable.
My answer was more geared towards that part of what session 0 is.
Yeah.
But I know where you're going. It is more than that. So from the other point of view, sure. So I guess just to reformulate my answer is
no, you can't.
Either way, I will. So I guess from the safety part of what the session
feeling comfortable
is, if you're with a group of friends, you probably don't need it, but either way, you need it because in the session 0, you get to discuss the core rules, how the game is going to be run, what you can do, what not, and so from every other aspect of the session 0, yes, it should be happening.
Yeah, you should know what your friend group is comfortable or uncomfortable with. But even that, man, I sometimes challenge, because like you can have one story or one session where you go and say like, okay, you know what, we're doing I don't know. We're doing referring a little bit to the past episode. We're doing a Hobbit experience, right? We're doing a standard, goblin, or
Orcs.
yeah, standard isekai, I guess you could say. Um, but then you have things that can be a lot more gory, right? So like again, to touch up on the same aspect, the same DM can have two different campaigns with the same players that are target totally different things,
Yes.
right? And I think like having a session 0 where you're putting that framework and where you're putting those ground rules into um, contract is good, right? Like to me, it's I went to the One Piece Symphony yesterday, and I haven't gone to much of these, but it was interesting that the first chair of the violin or whatever, she stood up before anybody else, right, and before the conductor came out and everything, and she played like a note, right, or whatever, right, and then everyone followed that note to make sure that they were all in tune before the conductor came out and actually started the whole symphony.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better analogy or a better experience than that, right? Like I think session 0 is that one note that you need to hit so that everyone's on the same key and everyone can just continue on in a well balanced environment, right?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I agree. So there's more to
It's a
just.
must.
It should be a must. It must. Yeah, it should be a must.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. So now, why is having the session 0 a game changer? Why it is important?
Well, I think we kind of touched base a little bit on it, right? Like, to me, it's a game changer because you set a framework, right? And that framework functions for not only the DM but actually the players,
Yeah.
right? You manage expectations, right? Like, so I like to break it down into 2 or 3 different categories, right? The first category is going to be safety, right? What are you comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? What's taboo? What's off limits? And how do we manage those off limits or in between categories, right?
Yep.
So that's number 1. Number 2, you set expectation as to how the story is going to be. Like, are we doing a story that's very combat heavy because my players or the players like a lot of combat? Are we doing more of a role play heavy story, right? And then also just to clarify the rules, right? Like you mentioned that too, right? Not only the system that you're playing, again, we kind of touched that up a little bit beforehand, where, okay, you first need to know what system you're playing, right? And hopefully by session 0, you had already discussed a little bit of like what you're doing. So let's assume it's a D&D, right? A major rule that has always been overwritten in D&D, for example, is the drinking a potion as an action, right? So a lot of DMs override that and say, you know what, drinking a potion is a bonus action instead of a full action, so that action economy can be a little bit more healthy, and you can drink like health potions without having to sacrifice your entire turn, right?
Yeah.
So agreeing to going into rules as written or raw, as opposed to modified rules, to me is a game changer, because then again you might spend session 0, let's say 2 hours while everyone does their thing or whatever, and then that avoids arguments and not compliments. I wish there were compliments. Complaints later on, right? Of like, oh, you did this for this case, but then you did that for this other case, and it's not fun, man.
I guess it's using some time beforehand to save a bunch of time during the development of the sessions, which hopefully is a long time, right?
Yeah.
If it is a full campaign, right? And I guess another thing in the session 0 is apart from defining those rules, specific rules, from my specific experience, is it also defining the progression of the story?
What do you mean?
Say leveling up. How is the party
a player
supposed
asking about
to
leveling up?
to-
Shocker.
to leveling up, obtaining items? I guess everything that is to the that the player needs to know about
Yeah.
must be defined in the session zero.
Yeah. In a way, yes. I mean, your session zero can go from, very brief, maybe a paragraph or a short call with like the people you're playing, of just saying, hey, this is a story, this is, the levels that we're going to go through, this is the main uh plot, genre, whatever. These are the things that are not okay. These are the things that are, okay. And then you go into questions and whatever, right? So it could be something very brief, or it could be something very elaborate, right? I think our session zero lasted like 4 hours.
So it lasted, yeah.
It was basically like a full session, but it was good because again, what we did was we built characters, we rolled.
I think we did a little more than what
Yeah.
the session zero is. I guess when you go into the session zero, characters should be ready.
Ideally, yeah, I think so.
We are not rolling for characters in the session zero, right?
Yeah.
So we did that. So it was a session zero slash.
Some people do, because some people create their entire character and then roll. Some people like to roll and then create the character based on their rolls. So it just depends on what you're aiming for, right? And I think like that's where the DM should really take charge and saying like, hey guys, this is what we're doing for session zero, right? And this is like the expectation.
Okay, now question there: who sets the tone in the session zero? Is it a negotiation or just the DM? This is how this is gonna go. You are in or out.
Ooh, if I really wanted to be an a-hole DM, I would just be like, yeah, this is what I'm running. It's gonna include all these awful things, and you all are gonna be okay with it, or there's the door.
That's why a-hole.
That's why no one plays with me.
Don't have any parties.
Yeah, no. I think some things are up for negotiation, and then some things are up for like leadership, right? Like there's more of like suggestions and then going from those suggestions, right? So again, off not off topic, but things that are off limits, then yeah, that's definitely
like what? Give me. I want to hear maybe one example of limit. Something that is off limit.
Man,
you, I guess,
yeah,
because
well, not just from
you,
or man.
From
I was at I was at a table once in a local like community event, right? Like one of these like phantasms or breakouts or whatever, right? And I usually vend at these events, but this time around I had someone help me, and then so I went into one of the games because I was like, okay, I was just gonna go, right? Now I don't get triggered easily, but man, like this one story, or this one person, sorry, at the table was just very inappropriate. Very inappropriate. It was like all of it put together. The guy was blatantly racist. He was sexualizing absolutely everything, right? To the point of like and the worst part, again, trigger warning, but the worst part is that it was like the story was about like ponies, like it was like a My Little Pony kind of a deal. It was the only story open, so that's what I took, whatever it was. But it was like a My Little Pony kind of like adventure. They were all unicorns or whatever.
Yeah.
And this guy's trying to like do things with the unicorn's horn, and it's like, bro.
Okay.
So yeah, very much session zero needed.
Okay, but that's I guess an edge scenario.
An edgy scenario.
Yeah, because there's one person that is
ruining the fun for everybody
ruining
else.
everything. For you,
evidently he got kicked out of the game.
Okay, but that is part of the safety
portion of it.
So let's say safety is out of limits.
Yeah.
What else, is there anything else that is off limit, or is just safety, the safety aspect of the safety?
For me, the safety is probably the biggest. I'm trying to really think if there's anything like that might be like off limits in the sense of like progression or character or something like that, because everything else is kind of to discretion, like as long as no one feels uncomfortable.
Okay, so I guess if how just before I was gonna ask something else, but something come up. The decision. How is the decision made? Are you okay with the majority?
Ooh,
Just let's keep it just within the progression aspect of the session zero. Let's say leveling, item acquirement,
yeah, yeah, I get
quest and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I guess
Like,
you're talking about
is it
more like is the story going to have more combat? Is it going to be more role
combat,
play? Yeah,
exactly like if there is 5 people in the DM, 6 people, but
Yeah.
5 players. If all of the players say, "Oh, we want more combat," but the DM is more story driven and role playing, do you think the DM should either quit the not quit, but
Quit!
adapt,
Quit right now!
adapt his story to
No,
what the players really want?
yeah, dude, I
Like
wholeheartedly believe that the DM's function is to let the story of the players come alive, right? So sometimes that kind of sucks as a DM because like you're like really excited, let's say, about certain aspects of the story. Um, but yeah, sometimes, in retrospect, right? Like sometimes players and DMs might not be a good fit, right? And session zero can help discover that, right? Like again, if you're running a session with, let's say one friend, and then that friend brings maybe 2 people that they know, right? So then you have 3 players in the DM.
Yeah.
And then you start talking about, yeah, we're gonna do, a fantasy story in Greyhawk.
But
right?
the DM is into cyberpunk.
Yeah, but then like the 2 other players are like, nah, but we love like, cyberpunk, and we want to be part of like, we want to be artificers who build gadgets like Da Vinci, and that's going to be our story. Well, then yeah, like that's not probably not a good match unless the DM goes like, yeah, game, let's do it.
Okay.
Right? So
I guess if you are in the session and you agree to the terms, then don't come crying.
Oh yeah.
This is going. I didn't want to go in this way. You agree to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think like it's important to say that, it's all about the setting expectations and boundaries, right?
Yeah.
So the whole point of session zero is set expectations and boundaries, right? The expectations are kind of like what you're saying. Okay, hey guys, roughly around 3 to 4 sessions, maybe 5 sessions, whatever we're going to be leveling up. That's another good one. Are we doing XP? Where are we doing milestone?
Yes. What are we doing? Nobody's said anything at the beginning.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, okay, are we doing XP or milestone? Okay, if it's XP, then everyone knows how much XP they're getting, so it's a little bit more straightforward. But then milestone, okay, what happens when they're milestones, and what's significant milestone to level up, right? So things like that, yeah. But in general, I think like it's exactly that. Let's meet the expectations. Let's make sure that everyone's on the same page. Now you had your session zero though, right? And like,
I think.
Well, you had it for one and you didn't have it for another one because you joined halfway through in your very first one.
Yeah.
Right? And granted, you only did that, once or twice, maybe? I think it was once.
Once.
Looking back, do you think the session zero would have like helped you integrate better in that particular scenario? I don't know.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
No, because I mean, if the campaign, if the campaign would have lasted more, I guessed, but that it didn't last.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a no-go. Nothing happened there. Now, for the second one, I think the session zero was important, but lacking. Yes.
Why was it lacking?
So first, some of the topics, technical topics, I guess the table wasn't experienced enough to ask the questions.
Oh yeah.
To confront the DM, so we had to go with whatever was the default that the DM wanted to do. So that caused a lot of discussions.
Yeah.
Or yes, conflicts in the table, especially, and that's why I'm asking about the progression, because I think those were some of the topics that were causing some friction in that
leveling up
in that campaign. Leveling up the items, because none, but most of the players, I think that experienced players, there was only one,
Yeah.
like super experienced. Then the rest, we were going with the default settings, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't know what the default settings were. So deep. So especially items and leveling.
Yeah.
Those were the main topics. That's why I'm bringing those up. So in
Man, I
the
gotta
session
say,
zero, those were not discussed because
Yeah.
we went with whatever the DM selected
Yeah.
for us. But that's because we didn't know what to ask.
Yeah,
So,
and I guess that's true, right? Like, because we
yeah.
could have gone into like an XP based one. I personally like milestones, so that's why that's what I suggested, and then we just ran with it. But it's a running gag, man. Like, it's a running gag. Every single player asks every single
But that's
session,
fair.
"Are we leveling up? But are we leveling up?
Yes, because
But bro, are we leveling up? Like, come on.
you want to get the more tools, more power, more strategies to play the game, and if you know it's gonna be milestone. So I think knowing that beforehand changes the dynamic of how you go about the story, because because if you know that completing a quest is gonna give you what you're looking for, more experience, more
leveling up. You just
leveling
say it,
up,
leveling up. Items.
then you do focus on the quest, and you don't even have to go into the battles, because if you can avoid them,
Yeah.
you just go around them, be more strategic about how you solve the quest in hand, and that's it.
I think you just unlocked level 2 of being a player.
Now, but that's the thing. If you are coming from, okay, I'm a gamer, I know killing stuff will give me experience, and then
let's go farm.
Exactly. Basically, you have the mentality of farming,
Yeah.
experience, leveling up, and farming items. So knowing that beforehand, okay, I don't need to fight this guy. I mean, go take the back door, get the item, save the people, and get out.
Yeah. Well, that's what I just said. I think you just unlocked level 2 of being a player, because a lot of the times DMs will put impossible tasks or extremely risky tasks, and players are supposed to be smarter than just going right into the front of it, so that they can go around it. They can maybe solve it politically. That's part of the game as well, right? So I think I would argue that the opposite sometimes happen when you have XP based, because then you get farmers, right? Oh, let's just murder an entire town so that we can just gain XP, right? And then that can go really wrong, as you guys saw when you tried, just taking out a innocent bystander.
The orcs?
No, the NPC at the village, because he locked his door because he was not safe. And then you guys then open his door and then try to murder him.
Yeah, but the guy was supposed to be an experienced fighter.
Yeah, he was sketch.
He was scared about some thief. So yeah, but I think
tangents.
I think both. Yeah, I think both scenarios can happen. Like if you are experience based, then you can get farmers. In the end, I guess would have been nice to know. That's what session zero is for.
Yeah.
So I guess if everything is on the table, and then you say, okay, I agree to that, good, let's go. That's the game we're playing.
Yeah.
And then all the options, or the options based on the rules, are what you're gonna use.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like rules definitely become very apparent, and it's impossible to cover everything in session zero, right? Because things will come up as you guys play, and like you said, there's an experience portion of it, right? What you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And I think we even saw that in the campaign that you're not playing right now, but we are playing on the side there. That one of the players was like, "Oh, can I see any messages?" Right? And everyone was like, "The fuck are you talking about? What kind of question is that? What do you mean? Can I see any messages?" Right? And not the DM and not any other players knew that they had just this special ability, depending on their class, that they can just see some messages left behind by other people of that class, right? So then even sometimes that kind of stuff gets missed, right? And it's all about expectations at that point. Because I think if you would have talked to your DM and then said hey, this is kind of something that my character has and blah, 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 you can kind of expect it as the DM, right?
Now, you need to talk about that beforehand, or let's say it happens, nobody knows what you're talking about, but I can just, okay, look at my character has this ability, like, and
Yeah.
then it's on the DM to say,
Yeah, it can be one of three ways, right? It could be talked about beforehand if you're all very experienced. It can be talked about during, like, right during the session of saying, like, hey, explaining, like, hey, this is my thing, or it could be right before the session, right? Like, not session 0, but let's say, like, you're in session 5 or whatever, and you're like, hey, I got this ability, I would like to use it. Can you incorporate it into the story? So, like, that's another thing, right? Even if you have session 0, it's a continuous development,
yeah,
and this includes safety and everything like that, which it's something that I really want to get into, right?
yeah. So
I think the most important part about session 0 is the safety and boundaries portion of it, especially when playing with new people.
Oh, not new players. I think new people in, like,
New people, yeah,
people
like,
that you are not acquainted with.
yeah,
Not in your group of
comfort
friends.
zone, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, because you never know, right? And different people play different things, and again, we're not here to shame on anything that anybody likes and how they like playing, but just in general, if those things don't jive between the people in the group, then they just don't jive, right? Like,
Yes.
again, I like to use the gory example as the main example because it's an easy one that, it's easy to put yourself and your shoes in, right? Some people like to describe gutting a goblin or whatever, right? And others are queasy when they hear anything beyond, yeah, you've finished them off, right?
Yes.
So I think there's two very important kind of rules that I usually implement or go through, or I guess three. The first one is a list. So in session 0, we go through a list of saying, like, hey, I want everyone to write down on a piece of paper what is green flag, red flag, and beige flag, or basically what's completely not allowed, what is allowed in your perspective that might be a little bit edgy or risky,
Mm-hmm.
and then what's something that's kind of like a gray area.
Yeah, borderline.
That's borderline, right? And what I like to use is based on that list, which is, I guess, the first of the 3 prongs that I just described, is go and say, okay, we're going to use the X method for the red flags.
What is that X method?
Yeah, so the X method is you basically have like an X card on the table. It could either be a button, a card, a cue card, or like whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
something on the table.
Something, and it will have a big X on it. And when you're approaching things that might bother or might make other people feel uncomfortable, that person raises the flag, right, and says, hey, X, like, I really don't want to talk about this or continue on. And it's the responsibility of the DM to then pivot. Now, sometimes it's not the DM that's causing the uncomfortable situation, like I said with the My Little Pony person. Sometimes it's the player, right? So then as the DM, you try to kind of edge them out into another section of the story. And other times you just have to stop the game and
take a break.
Take a break,
right?
talk to the person separately.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask you. So let's say, and just to, I guess, illustrate it to the people.
Yeah.
So we are in a session. We just finished. Maybe we are in an encounter, whatever situation, and I don't feel comfortable with something that is going on. So I just grab the card, show it to the table.
Yeah.
How does that unfold? Like, do I need to explain what is making me uncomfortable?
No.
It's just that, okay, that is the signal that, okay, we need to.
Yeah, I mean, I think
stop. Maybe I discuss it with the DM separately,
in private, yeah.
and then the DM knows, okay, let's move on from this. Whatever happens, right?
Yeah,
How does that go about?
I think it kind of depends on the person that's raising the flag. Like, some people are very open to what's making them uncomfortable. Other people are very shy and don't want to have to explain to a table of potentially strangers.
Yes.
Right. So a lot of the times, it's up to the DM to be very aware of what's going on and what sensitive topics there might be on the table at the moment, so that when they do put that, you pivot 100%. Like, just, like, again, if it's somebody, trying to seduce a dragon or whatever, and it's getting too graphic or too detailed, then you just, nip it out. Yeah, you're successful. Good. Congrats. What are you doing? right? And then see if that's there. And in all honesty, you can also keep your hand until something is resolved. So there's a lot of verbal cues and nonverbal cues that you can pick up on. But yeah, it's hopefully that never happens at your table. But yeah, it's a little bit, again, I think with strangers it happens a lot more. I do have to say though that within groups that sometimes happens too. Like it could be your friends and stuff like that. Sometimes things get out of hand, right? And I think that's.
But I think if it happens with people that you know already, like
everyone knows each other's boundaries a little bit more. Yeah.
That, and sometimes like it's like a joke. You're expecting it to happen because like
the people
like somebody
with, yeah.
it's too easy for him to avoid that. Like no, actually it's too hard for him to avoid it.
Yeah.
So you were expecting it to happen because this guy's gonna take that pun because it's out there, right?
Yeah.
So the group, and sometimes it's more easygoing.
Yeah.
Even if you are a little uncomfortable, that this guy's like that.
Yeah. Like, you kind of know,
and he will know that I gotta go up to this point.
Yeah.
They will laugh, but if I go further, I know these people will feel bad, or So it is, I guess, a little more manageable in a way.
Yeah,
it's having strangers that don't know each other, don't know their limits, don't know what is gonna offend somebody. Beyond the point of being sitting together on a table.
Yeah.
So
I think with friends you have a lot more grace.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I think
people
there
learn
are
how to communicate.
more topics in the gray area than in the extremes, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, like we had the ongoing gag of gagging. The ongoing gag of gagging. But yeah, like, and I think everyone, was comfortable with it and was fine and whatnot. But yeah, it got to a point where it was like, I had to kind of like cut it. Because yeah, it was kind of taking over the story. It wasn't making really anyone uncomfortable, but it was just like, it was such a running gag that it was just like every session, at least 10, 20 minutes was just someone trying to do whatever. Right. And I was just like, okay, let's just get it over with. Right.
Yes.
But yeah, like, again, amongst friends and amongst people that there's a lot more grace, and there's a lot more of a open communication, which a lot of the times doesn't happen with the strangers and the new kind of people that come in, right?
So I guess you have the list.
Oh yeah, so you have the list, you have the X, and then there's
what is
the other method is the lines and veils.
What is that?
So the lines and veils are basically what's a hard line, right? Line in the sand of you can't cross this line, right? So it kind of functions as the red flags of you can't do this. And then for the beige flags, what I like to do is like, okay, I take all the beige flag topics and then I put them behind a veil. So a veil meaning,
but not a real veil, right?
No, I'm not. I put it behind a veil, man. Like in the sense of you don't go beyond a certain point, right?
Yeah.
So like if again, if a trigger warning, but if children are being murdered or whatever, right? And that's part of the story. Let's say like that's just the story, or let's maybe not go that deep. Let's just say kidnapped. Let's say
edit
the murder
that kid's part.
Yeah, but let's say yeah, like some kids are getting kidnapped or whatever. That can be a very sensitive topic.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And I would probably say that a lot of people would put it under their beige flag. Maybe not a red. Right. Like let's say you're running Hansel and Gretel. Right. That's standard. Kids get kidnapped and then they get eaten alive, which is terrible. But
if you save them
exactly,
that, right?
You can save them. Right. But then under the beige flag, if that happens using the veils method, what happens is that you say, these kids got kidnapped, and if you guys fail or whatever on the mission to save them, the witch had a very yummy supper, right?
Exactly. You don't,
and that's it.
I guess you don't paint the picture.
Correct. Yeah, you don't paint the picture
details.
Because it would make people feel like it's real, and then ergo feel uncomfortable, right? And same with the kidnapping, right? Like if they come and you go and say, these guys, they came into town, the orcs got in and they beat everyone, they murdered everyone, and then now they take the children, and who knows where they're taking them, and it's a cold, solemn night, and you add all this extra layers and extra things, like it can get very real, and it could get very shocking
for some people. Yeah.
For some people, yeah. So the whole veil method, I think it's great because it lets you include pivotal things that can happen in a story. So, for example, you cannot run Hansel and Gretel without the potential for kids being harmed, right? And in a very what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's not story, in a very fairy tale type of way, right? But it's pivotal to the story. The kids need to get lost. The kids need to go to somebody's house, and the kids need to be in danger, right? So that's the thing, right? Now, you could be a wise DM as well and then turn that into adults, make that a little bit more lighthearted, even though that's not acceptable in any case. But I think like it's a whole different level.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Okay, so I guess safety wise,
it's very important.
It's important, and there are tools for the table to feel welcome.
Yeah.
And to feel safe, right?
Yep.
That's what the DM and the table is looking for, that nobody is uncomfortable, and that I guess everybody has fun and can role play to the best of their abilities, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's also what kind of helps with the session 0, like not only from the safety aspect, but also like if you're saying like, hey, we're running Hansel and Gretel, right? Going back to that example, then right?
Well,
like
there are some
potential,
to be there. Yes, being graphic or not would depend on all the other.
Yeah, but
aspects,
the plot, what's going on, what the setting is,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So then you kind of go, okay, am I comfortable with this, or am I? And then you have every right as a player. Hey, can we not do that story? Can we do, I don't know, Peter Pan, which also has, never mind, not Peter Pan. But can we do? Yeah, can we do? I don't know, Snow White, right, or whatever. I mean, I think every single one of them will have
those Grimm stories are like that. The original stories were, So yeah, okay.
But yeah, so then I think that's important, and it'll session 0 will give you that, and then also on the lighter side of things, guys, session 0 also establishes respect and a schedule. Right. So again, if we want to meet every week on Sundays, right, from 4 till 8 p.m., then that's a commitment that you're making. Right. Obviously, with some grace, everyone has things, everyone gets sick.
Yeah, but don't do it on Sunday morning. Right. inform the people at least on Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, if you're not attending or whatever, and then like, what's the expectation, right? Are we ordering dinner? Are we having dinner? Is someone making dinner? Is it a potluck? Are we taking, how many breaks are we taking? Right. So it establishes all that, and just the logistics of it all. Whose house are we playing in? Are we going to a pub instead? Right.
Yeah.
Is it going to be virtual? Right. So all those things are discussed in session 0, and I think like it's very, very important so that everyone gets off on the right foot.
Yes. So I guess we can wrap it up. I think we covered most of the what is in a session 0. So I guess final words. If you're starting a campaign, session 0 is a very important step, even among friends.
Yeah.
Contrary to what I said before. So yes, go through your session 0, however long, and you will thank us later.
Yeah. So yeah, I think guys, couple of takeaways. Make sure you have your safeties in place there. Make sure you have your session 0. Take it with grace, right? With strangers or with friends, like be open-minded and make sure that you're communicating properly and openly, right? Everyone has a different walk in life, and everyone has a different perspective on things. So just make sure that you're catering to that in a safe environment, and that's the point, right? Make sure everyone's on the same page with you, and trust me, it will be all the better. So yeah, if you like today's episode, make sure to hit subscribe and share this episode with your party. If you're planning on having that session 0, I think it will be a great introduction to your new players. Yeah. So share that with them so they take a watch and see what our stories were, and hopefully no one replicates the My Little Pony fiasco. But yeah, so make sure to share it, because it's better when you bring the right crew along. If you have any awesome or not so awesome stories of how your session 0 went, make sure to leave a comment and share it with us, and we might bring it up in the show next time. So with that, thank you guys, and see you in the next episode.